So when it comes to pricing, there are some really important fundamental things that we need to talk about. The first thing that I want to share with you is that no matter what your pricing is, the most critical thing to communicating your price structure, how you price your services, what you are charging for your services, the types of packages that you're marketing for yourself, the most important piece in communicating that is confidence. You have to have a very strong and very deep, confident concept around what you're charging, why you are charging it. And when you deliver your pricing to potential prospects, you have got to clearly outline what it is that you're charging for, but also confidently deliver those prices and those packages in a way that is very credible, but also in a way that is assertive and viable so that the client is not picking up on you thinking, "Oh, is this too much?" Or "Are they gonna still like me if I charge this much?" Or can they afford this?" Like, those are not the kind of ways that you wanna communicate your pricing. You want to communicate your pricing in a way that is, "I got this. I'm an expert. I provide value for what I do. You get what you pay for, and you need to pay me for this because it is going to be a good, strong return on your investment." That's the kind of attitude that you want to have when you are talking about your prices, no matter what they are, no matter if you're the most expensive or the least expensive, or you have more in your packages or less in your packages. None of that is relevant if you can't deliver in a confident way why you are charging what you are charging. Now, the second piece to that is that confidence not only comes from your level of expertise you bring into your business, it not only comes in from client success stories and case studies by being able to prove that your value for your services is validated by other people, but it's also based on the knowledge that you have going into how you priced your services. Because if you have a very specific breakdown, you don't have to share that breakdown by any means, but you need to start with creating a very financially stable and sound formula for how you are getting to your price points. This is important not only to have you be confident in your expression around why you charge what you charge, or just in the expression in general of how you are communicating your prices, because the knowledge builds the power, and the power is in the confidence in how you portray it. But it's also incredibly important for you to be able to break down the tasks that you're delivering within your packages, for example, how long it takes to deliver on those tasks. What is the hourly rate attached to those tasks? And then, based on that, combining all of those tasks with the time spent delivering them into a way that creates a package that is viable for you economically, so that you have profit margins built into your prices, and that when your client purchases them, that you've taken in all of these factors into consideration. And when I say factors, I mean things like, what are your hard expenses? What are your expenses to get show notes written, to have outsource your editing? What's your tech stack expenses? Are you paying for Descript, for Loomly, for Zoom, for Headliner, for Riverside? Like, those costs mount up. Are you renting a facility? And how is the rent factored into that? What about your team? Any expenses? If you're a solo operator, you still have to factor in how much it costs of your time, because if you're not taking into consideration how much it takes of your time, then you are never going to be able to replace that time by hiring out someone else, because when you do that, that hard cost cuts into your profit margins. So you need to be able to compensate for your own time spent doing these tasks, so that when you grow and scale and you start to outsource and hire other people, those costs are already taken into consideration. And then you also need to take into consideration things like your taxes. Setting aside 30%, if you're US based, setting aside 30% of your gross revenues in a separate account for taxes. Profit margins, absolutely. Running 20 to 30% at least profit margins against your expenses and the time spent executing. but then also an additional 10 to 20% for unexpected expenses or educational investments. If you want to get new headshots or new branding done, if you want to attend a conference, if you want to be able to take some additional time off and hire a subcontractor to step in for you, like those are the things that all have to be taken into consideration. Don't forget if you choose to take credit cards, that's another 3%. So you have to get really super, super clear on what are the deliverables? How much time is it going to take you or a team member to deliver on those deliverables? How many hard expenses do you have against those deliverables? Add another 30% for taxes, add another 10 to 20% for to build extra cushion. And also just we all know things take longer than we think they're going to take. Even if you sit down with this formula and you figure this out almost to the exact penny, things are going to take longer than you think they're going to take. A client's scope is going to adjust, it's going to pivot. Some parts of the deliverables are going to be more challenging based on the personality type or the type of podcast you're working with. So you've got to factor in some buffer. And then once you get those really hard cost, expenses, time, and all of the things that we talked about against that, then you start to build the package from there. And then think of like a good, better, best package. So I have a package that's more economical, but it has less services in it. Maybe it's a production only or a marketing only. And then you have a better package that has more tasks in it, that has a larger price point attached to it, but it's going to free up more of your client's time. So they might be more willing to invest in that. And then you have your optimal premium, your best package that is taking all of the things that they need into consideration, and you're giving all of their time back. So they absolutely would benefit a tremendous ROI from investing in your best package. And on that note, once you have clearly priced out your packages, you've set them up into 3 tiers, good, better, best. Then you need to think about how you're going to have conversations with your clients about these packages. The language that you use in these packages. What's the difference between guest scheduling and guest booking? What's the difference between managing raw files and final approval of raw files and edited files than actually doing the editing? What's the difference between a show note summary version that might be less expensive versus a highly optimized SEO rich show notes with titles and descriptions and key takeaways and timestamps and bios and resources? And why does that cost more? And why is that in the better or the best package and not the good package, right? And be able to very clearly have a conversation with your potential client about the fact that this is what these packages include, but make sure their language and your language are aligned so that you're not setting up expectations and not being able to deliver on those expectations, and that you're not setting up a situation where they think they're getting one thing that they're paying for and you're delivering something that they think is subpar. So now they think they're overpaying, but if you have to deliver on what they're expecting, then you're going to be underpaid. And that's not a win win for anybody. So, this clear, confident communication comes back to the absolute key to success in how you price and what you charge. And then the last point in that, and probably one of the most important points to bookend it, is that don't discount on your prices. The answer is no. You don't discount because it compromises your credibility, it compromises your price structure, it creates questions and doubts in your client. So if someone asks you to discount, you can adjust the packages for what's delivered inside the price point, but don't take the exact same deliverables and discount them. Have a conversation with them that says, I can't provide you my premium package at a discounted rate, but what I can do is repackage some of the features that are in the premium package to meet your needs at a lower price point. And that way, you are confidently communicating your value. You're confidently communicating that your prices are what they are based on the expertise that you bring into your podcast management business, and you're giving them an opportunity to then evaluate whether they need or want all of the services and which ones are the most important for them to invest in. So this is the very core fundamental pieces of your pricing structure and how to price your packages and how to package your services. But none of this matters if you don't have a very strong basis of knowledge for how you got to where your prices are and a very confident delivery in why you are charging what you're charging.